Welcome to the Let's Talk About It podcast, where we turn conversation into application. I am your host, Leon Reed Jones, man. I've been gone for a little bit. I went on a vacation with my girlfriend and her family, so that's why you haven't been seeing me in the studio for a few days, man. It was dope, man. We left from Orlando, Florida, and we went to St. Thomas. We went to St. Martin. We went to Amber Cove, and every person I talked to about the cruise, I forget this last place that we went to, but it was amazing, bro. You know, me and a couple of my girlfriend's cousins, we went to the outdoor court, and we got like real hyped up, and just made a joke of it, and we went out to go hoop against the people that was hooping, man. We went crazy. We carnival champions. So shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to my carnival champion teammates for the one time. But no, man, the cruise was definitely, man, anticipated. Everybody was going crazy leading up to the cruise. It was a dope experience. This was my second cruise that I went on. And it was fun for sure, man. I had a great time. The food, man, just thinking about it right now, I need me another Guy's double cheeseburger right now. I wasn't feeling the fries after, so many days, but I definitely went back for 2 burgers, every day. But just the whole experience, that trip was needed, bro. Like, I was anticipating the trip for so long. We had been talking about this trip for over a year ago, saving up money, just talking about how fun it was going to be. And it was everything that we wanted it to be and more. So, man, it was definitely needed. I was in need of a break, and we went on a cruise for up until the 22nd until the 31st. So it was dope, man. It was a blast. I had a great time, and looking forward to making more memories like that. I told y'all, man, I'm in my Damian Lillard era, new beginnings. But, man, today's episode, man, like I said on my story a few days ago, is, very personal to me, man. And I told y'all at the beginning of season 5, I didn't want to just podcast. I wanted to pour into people. I wanted to, come here and speak with a message behind whatever I do, whether it's be it me by myself or me with another guest, man. I want you to get something from what I'm saying. We going to bring the vibes, we going to have fun, and we going to do all of that. But I want, at the end of the day, you to be able to take something with you that you can apply not only to your life, but that you can pass on to somebody else. So, man, today I want to talk about October 30th, 2016. And some of you all may be wondering, like, what is October 30th, 2016? And I'm going to get into that. But, man, that date is so personal to me for reasons that I will get into during this podcast. And so for those of you who don't know, I lost my mother to pancreatic cancer. And just thinking back on it, I was kind of in the middle about if I should talk about it. I've talked about it to people before, but, not this in depth. But I feel like it was time for real, because I know some other people are dealing with, hurt, pain, and different stuff they're trying to work through. And now my mother has been gone for about 6-7 years now. And it still is rough without her, you know what I'm saying? Like, because that was my hero. You know what I'm saying? My first superhero before Spider-Man was her. You know what I'm saying? And I just saw how she moved. I saw how her daily, walk was, and how she just loved on people, even if you wasn't blood or even if you weren't in the neighborhood. Like, wherever she went, it was a glow to her. And I don't say that because she's my mom. I've heard many people say that to me. You know what I'm saying? But I felt like it was time. I definitely wrestled with it, but I believe that this story is going to help somebody who's either experienced the same thing or who is currently going through the same thing. So with that being said, let me take you, on this journey with my mom. And so 10th grade, I'm in 10th grade or whatever. And I don't remember what month it was, what day it was, whatever. All I know is I remember I was in 10th grade. And so one day I was at home, waiting on my mom to get home or whatever. And she finally got home. And when she got home, she threw up in the driveway. So me, I'm not thinking too much of it, because like, okay, it's throw up, you know what I'm saying? We throw up all the time. But it was like, it was different. Like she kept throwing up. She was like real sick. And so weeks passed or whatever, and we go up to her and my dad's room, me and my brother, and she tells us, she sits us down after going to the doctor, so many times. She's like, I have something I need to tell y'all. And I don't know what she's going to tell us at this point. You know what I mean? And, she tells us after recent, appointments, I found out that I had pancreatic cancer. Obviously, my dad is being strong for us. And, my brother, he not really saying too much. But me, whether it be I'm feeling this way because I'm the baby boy, or just over the fact that this is my mom. Like I told y'all, man, this is my hero. You know what I'm saying? Like me and my mom were super close, super tight. I can remember, from the time I was born, from the time that she passed away, we did stuff like movie night. The reason why people that know me, I go to Sam's Club almost every other chance I get, not because the food is good, but she made stuff like going to Sam's Club, going to Target, going to these different places just to get groceries. She made those type of things fun for us, because she would get us icy. She would get us pizzas while we were waiting. Or, I remember, hanging out over summer break or winter break. I remember, or even when I wasn't able to go, I remember the times where my mother would take my grandmother or take her sister or take her sister-in-law or our neighbor to the different grocery stores every Friday, once a month, you know what I'm saying? And they would be waking up at, 8 in the morning, and they wouldn't come back home until I was getting out of school, or me and my brother would get out of school, man. And so just thinking on those things, man, I'm replaying all these things in my mind, just thinking about, man, like I know what cancer does to people. People have survived it. People have beat it. But I'm like, man, this is my whole world right here. And now we finding out, you know what I'm saying, that she has pancreatic cancer. Time goes on and you can start to see the cancer take its course. She's losing hair. She's losing weight. You know what I'm saying? And I remember one day that I really noticed it. And me and her were just talking. And then she grabbed her head and then hair was falling out. And I was like, Ma, is your hair falling out? And she was like, yeah. She paused for a minute. She was like, yeah. And then like just dealing with all of this from 10th grade, on up, it was like I'm witnessing my mom like waking up before I got to go to school, like at 3 in the morning. And I'm watching her like getting up from her bed and, in pain and sighing and all of these different things. And I'm hearing this, before I got to wake up at 6 in the morning, just seeing my mom, go through all of this stuff, internally bleeding and, just going through a whole bunch of different things. And all of this is taking place, mind you, while she's in college. Anybody who knew my mom, like she was going to Baker College, which is a college in Michigan. And she was going back to get her, degree in interior designing. Anybody that know her know she was always decorating the house, moving around furniture. Like I'm surprised me and my brother not bodybuilders by now, because all the furniture that we moved around the crib, or all the different things that we moved around. And, all of this is going through my mind while my mom is telling us, and me in 10th grade, like, I got pancreatic cancer, son. And then I'm seeing the toll it's taking on her. I'm watching a woman who went from being in school and almost at the finish line of getting her degree and already having her business cards out ready to go. So as soon as she graduated, she can jump right into her business, or, start making moves of her own interior design business. I'm watching her like lose her hair. I'm watching her lose weight. I'm watching her when we go to the mall and, we do our, Sam's Club dates, or we go to Target, and I'm watching her having to sit down, or, I'm watching her have to wait up front while I go get everything because she can't move like she used to. Or after walking so many times around the mall or around here, she like, son, I just need to sit down. I'm just tired. The medicine and the chemotherapy is taking my energy away. So I'm dealing with all of this and just watching her move, and you know what I'm saying? it's tough because, like I said, my mom was a great woman and a great human being, and I'm just watching. I'm more so sad because you almost at the finish line and this happens. You know what I'm saying? Like you about to get your degree, and no sooner than you about to get ready to graduate, you go and find out that you got pancreatic cancer. So I remember the times, bro, like when, hearing her in pain, or, one day specifically, I remember, I was in this program called Midnight Golf, and I got back from school and I was getting ready to change to get ready for Midnight Golf with my mom. She like sighing, she is in pain. And then I'm flustered because I really don't know what to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm lost. So the first thing I can think of, I call my aunts and I'm like, my mom, she not, doing too good. Could y'all come over here? Because my dad at work, you know what I'm saying? And I'm getting ready to leave. And I'm contemplating if I even still want to go to Midnight Golf tonight because my mom is in so much distress. She's in pain and she, screaming out like, Lord, what did I do? Why is this happening to me? Why? She's apologizing like, I'm sorry. I don't know what I did. And, my aunts is trying to comfort her and say, hey, you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. And I'm watching this. I'm seeing this, up close and personal. You know what I'm saying? And it's just taking a toll on me. And everybody who know me know I love to joke around, the playful one, always trying to have a good time. But I'm just watching my hero just, wear down. I watched her have her own daycare business. I watched her in college when she graduated and got her associates. Now she going back for her bachelor's. And, all these different things, man. And I'm watching all of this stuff. I'm watching my mom at the top of the mountain. And then she's slowly declining. And it's weighing on me because I know how hard she worked. I know all the stuff that she sacrificed and put her stuff on hold so me and my brother can have a better life. You know what I'm saying? And it was just tough to see that. And many people may have not known like what I was, wrestling with internally. But it was hard because to see somebody that you love and somebody that has a good heart, not to say that good people shouldn't go through anything. I never say that, but like just to see her wrestle with that and just, deal with all of that and all of the emotions that came from all of us that saw her, you know what I'm saying? I remember the times where, hey, my aunts would step in and they would take me to the barbershop because one of my other aunts got to pick her up from chemotherapy, or one of my other aunts got to make sure her meals is ready, you know what I mean? Or my dad got to do this, or my dad got to sit at home with her. I remember the times where I would go to functions and she wouldn't be there because she had to rest at home. I remember times where she couldn't always come to things because her energy just wasn't there. And so it's like all of this stuff I'm dealing with it, you know what I'm saying? But it's like I'm constantly praying like, yo, like, God, like I need you to come through on this one, you know what I'm saying? I need my mom to be able to be here for all the stuff, that we talked about, because my mom was big on education. My mom was big on making something of yourself. And it was something that my mom told me from an early age, like she always would tell me like, you're not the exception. And I was like, Ma, what you mean when you say I'm not the exception? Like, how when you hear people say you're not the exception to the rule. And so my mom kind of put a twist on it. Like you hear people say you're not the exception to the rule. Like you can't get away with, you're not excused from trouble, or you're not excused from this just because you may be richer, or you may live in this neighborhood, or you may come from this, or whatever the case may be. But she put a spin on it. She was like, you're not the exception. Like, don't be shocked that you in the rooms that you in because you're supposed to be there. Like, you're not the exception because you black. You're not the exception because you a male. Like, don't let what people have tried to put on us, and we understand racism is very real and alive still to this day. I understand that, but don't let that stop you from going to do what you need to do. Don't let that stop you from achieving all that you can be and all that you can do. Like, you're not the exception to the rule. And she helped me understand, like, Just because you come from this place, just because you black, just because you a male don't mean like it's a shocker or it's like, oh my, I'm shocked Leon is successful because he's a black male and he comes from Detroit and he lives in the city and all of these different things. He said, don't put that label on you. Even though all of those things are true, you're a male, you're black, you come from the city of Detroit where these things happen, killings and all of these different things, racism. Don't allow that to make you believe like, oh, wow, appreciate the moment, be thankful, be humble, be grateful that you in the rooms that you in, but don't think for 1 second that it's a shocker that you in the rooms that you in. Don't think for 1 second that you successful and you need to be shocked about it. Don't think for 1 second that because you did what God put you on earth to do, you shocked, because you're not the exception. And so this whole time, bro, I'm replaying the different quotes my mom would tell me. I'm rethinking all these things that led us up to now. I remember being irritated as a little kid during the summertime when she would wake me and my brother up and be like, yo, y'all come out here and help me with this, or we got to move this. And I'm like, man, it's summertime. But all of the while, these things taught me work ethic, right? Nobody gonna do this for you. It's no handouts. You know, I don't care how good you got it. There's no handouts. You got to go up, you got to get after it, and you got to do what you need to do. So I'm watching this lady who taught me so much, who took me to extracurricular programs to have my learning past academics. And so I could be successful. So saying, hey, no, we going to this church and you going to stay in this meeting and you going to be a part of Midnight Golf. And when I got in, I was grateful to meet so many people, you know, friends that I kick it with still to this day or chop it up with, you know what I'm saying, mentors that I have and I communicate to this day. I remember her taking me to these different scholarship programs. And even though I was a goofball in school, like, you know, being 5 steps ahead of the game, you know, because I'm in these programs, or having prior knowledge that maybe not everybody has because I'm in these scholarship programs. And she like, hey, fill out so many scholarships a day, or do this so many times. Her and my pops, you know, adamant about, hey, y'all can have fun, y'all can play the game, but make sure you read a book and write a summary on it and tell us about it. I'm wrestling with all these things from the time I hear that she has pancreatic cancer in 10th grade. And then now we move forward to 12th grade, right? I remember like it was yesterday, bro. Like, I remember the month of October, like it happened literally yesterday, bro. Like, and I remember I was at school and I think we were taking pictures or something. And my class colors at the time, we wore black shirts or white shirts. And we had like this like plaid tie, it had like green, white, black, and yellow in it. And we wore yellow shirts. But I was supposed to wear my tie that day, right? But I just came to school in my black pants and my black shirt. And so I was like, and then when we took pictures, you know, my mom found out or whatever, like, and she asked, you know, did Leon have his tie on? And she said no. So I got in trouble for that, of course. She was like, no, you were supposed to wear your tie. So because of that, your homeboy is not coming over this weekend. So I'm like, I'm upset. You know, me and her upset at each other or whatever. And so long story short, we get into an argument. She leaves and she goes to my aunt's house or whatever, right? And she storms out. She drives over to my aunt's crib. And it's just me and my pops at the crib. My brother's in the Navy at this point, in Hawaii and all of that. And mind you, my mom is still going through what she's going through. And, you know, to see her dart off and leave when she's wrestling with so much, her energy is not always there. She's steaming, she's upset. And so then the following week, you know, the story I told y'all about, you know, when I called my aunts because I was worried, like, my mom is in the bed, she's in pain. This is the following week after, right? My mom finally come home, you know, we ain't talking for a few days or whatever. So we finally talked to each other. And, you know, we squashed that. Oh, I was wrong. You know, that shouldn't have happened. This, that, and the fourth. You know, we had our conversation, which most people don't know. And a few days after that, you know, she had to go back to the hospital. You know, and this is the same time that I called my aunts over. So that day, I leave the house after all my aunts get over there, a majority of my aunts get over there, and they looking after her. I go to midnight golf because I can't be at the house because all I'm going to think about is, man, I'm seeing my mom in tears and pain, yelling out. You know what I'm saying? What did I do? Why am I in this position? You know, but, you know, I go to midnight golf anyway, and I'm wrestling with this from the time I leave the driveway until the time I pull up to Marygrove College for midnight golf. I'm sad. I'm upset. I'm all these different emotions because I'm seeing my mom go through this, and we've made amends from the time last week that we had our little situation or whatever. We make amends, everything is good, and then now she got to go back into the hospital. And so she's in the hospital, and she's still being my mom. Like, I go up there, I would see her certain days, you know, and she would say, hey, make sure you got this for midnight golf. Make sure you have this for your homework. You know, you got to finish this paper. Make sure we done went over it. We've did A, B, and C. We've done all that. Make sure you do not forget these and you turn these in. Now, mind you, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, yo, Ma, you should be here getting rest. You know, you should be here just relaxing and waiting on the results. But she was always trying to, you know, get us to do our very best. She was on our head. She was going to get at you and tell you what you needed to do so you could be successful, even if you didn't want to hear it. You know, so I'm like, all right, Ma, I got you. Boom, boom, boom. And it seemed like every time that she was getting ready to go home, it was like, we got to run more tests. I remember her telling me, yeah, they say they're going to let me go tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I'm asking my dad, like, oh, yeah, she can come home tomorrow. Yeah, that's what they say. So when she would get ready to go home, we got to do more tests. So at this point, it happened 2 times. You know, she supposed to come home, then they say they got to do more tests. And so after the 3rd time, I'm kind of like, okay, this pattern is kind of getting kind of scary now because, you know, they saying she's supposed to come home and she's not coming home. You know what I'm saying? So all this time, my mom is not at the house. You know what I'm saying? She in the hospital. I'm going to see her every day, every other day. And I'm going through all of these emotions. And then October 30th came. October 30th, 2016. And I remember that whole day from the time I woke up, from the time I went to sleep. And it was so crazy because my church member, Mr. Cantrell, he passed away, I believe, a day before. And then also earlier that morning, another man by the name of Mr. Nolan, he passed away. And my dad told me. So my dad went to the hospital and he visited her early in the morning. He was, you know, you could tell it was rough on him. And he was real sad. And so me, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to be around the house. I'm looking at pictures in my room of me and my mom. You know, I'm looking at 2 of our most recent pictures. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I just don't want to be at home. So I called my boy Tahan up. And I'm like, bro, ask your mom, can I come to the crib? He like, yeah, bro, you can slide over. So my pops, he dropped me off over there. And then, wait, no. I'm forgetting something. So before I go over to his crib, I go see my mom. And then I get over there, my pops taking me down there. He like, you know, I want you to go see your mom. And so I'm watching my mom hooked up to all of this stuff, all of these, you know, cords, and I'm watching her. I'm seeing, you know, my cousins there, my aunts. And then I just see her hooked up to all these cords, and I'm just emotional because, again, I'm watching a lady who went from here and now she's slowly declining. And it's rough. And I can't help but pour out all of the emotions. And I remember this is the last conversation I had with my mom. And I remember saying to her, I was holding her hand and she was shaking. And she held my hand tight after I said this. I said, Ma, I thanked her for, giving me life and taking care of me and always being on my head and spending time with me and loving me. And I said, Ma, you don't have to worry no more. I got you. I got it. And I'm going to make good on my promise. And she, with the little energy she had, she squeezed my hand and she was like, son, you do it and don't you look back. And that was the last time I talked to my mom. And I remember after that, I just was, crying a lot and I didn't want to go home. So I called my boy. And he was like, yeah, man, my mom said you could slide over there. So we playing the game, we laugh and we joke and we playing. And I had to been over there until the nighttime. Then my pops picked me up. And then I finally went back home. And around this time, I get back home around 8 or 9. And then the night go on. And then my phone ring and my uncle called me. He like, hey, man, we coming over there to get you. And so as soon as my phone ring and I see his name pop up, my heart started pumping real fast and I'm nervous. Like my heart felt like when you at the top of a roller coaster and then you go down. And I remember seeing my uncle's name pop up on my phone and I'm just locked in on the phone, just looking. And I let it ring for a little bit, then I pick up the phone. He like, hey, man, we coming to get you. And so as soon as he say that, I say, all right, hang up, quick. And as I'm hanging up, I'm thinking, either my mom is gone, something went wrong, or I don't know what else. But I'm thinking on the bad side. I'm thinking the worst at this moment because he like, hey, man, we coming to get you. Like I told you, my mom's supposed to get out of the hospital. And my mom's supposed to get out of the hospital. And the crazy part about all of this, I remember a few weeks prior, getting some information like, hey, the cancer shrunk in her body. So if it shrinks again, the mass shrinks, we could take that out. So I remember going to school, telling my boys, telling my teacher, my homeroom teacher, like, hey, appreciate y'all prayers. Appreciate y'all. They said if the cancer shrink again, if it shrinks any longer or smaller, they can take it out. And so hearing that, and then now we in this position where my mom's supposed to come home. She's supposed to come home on this day, supposed to come home on this day, but they got to keep doing tests. And now we here at October 30th, 2016, and I get the call from my uncle like, yo, I'm about to come get you. And everything around me just stopped. So they pull up to my house, I get in the car, I don't say nothing. I'm just on my phone, I'm quiet, I don't got nothing to say. So we get there, and before I could even press the elevator button, my pop grabbed me like, yo, his voice trembling, he crying. He like, she ain't make it. And so I couldn't even cry at this point. I just was like in a state of shock. Not that she passed, because, leading up to this moment, you hear, oh, she getting out soon. She getting out soon. Then they running tests. Then I get the phone call days later. And now we get the phone call from my uncle saying he gonna pick me up. And then I'm just thinking, I ain't shocked that she passed, but it's just like, dang. Right now, mind you, the school I was at, we go back to school in August. We barely 2 months in. And at the start of my 12th grade year, and I remember it like it was yesterday, bro. I remember my classmates at the time, we all had some function at my house and we was talking about the uniforms we was going to wear for senior year, because when At the school, you could pick your uniform. At the school I was at, if you was a senior. We played games. We had food. We had a whole bunch of laughs. We were just talking about how the school year was going to be, and all the parents were there talking about how they was going to support all the kids, the fundraisers we was going to do to save up for our class trip, had money for this, had money for that. And they was just working all together, and we was downstairs in my basement. We was having a good time. And all of that from the time I was born, all the memories, all the times where we would go to Target. I would be with my aunts and my older and younger cousins, and we would get together over my house or over their house. We would go to family reunions. We would go to this aunt's house, this uncle's house, this cousin's house. My aunts would get together along with my mom, and they'll wake up early in the morning, and we'll go to, all the different malls, and wouldn't come home until 5 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? All these different things, thinking about, dang, my mom was in college. She was a few months away from getting her degree and starting her business. And now we here, hearing that your hero, somebody you looked up to, somebody who taught you the game, is gone. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, you in your senior year. So not only does she not get to see you graduate high school, she don't get to see you graduate college. And all the time she put in into making sure we got these scholarships, making sure I made it on time to these places, even when she was sick. Now we here, and now I got to go home with this. And I remember getting a whole bunch of texts from church members, friends at my church, friends at my school, friends in general, like, man, we so sorry your mom was this to us, she was that. And I'm just like, dang, man. Like, this is rough. 'Cause you got to understand, man, this is a lady that I watch do so much. Not just for me and my brother, not just for a lot of my cousins, people at my church, friends at my church. You know what I'm saying? And all the while she battled 2-3 years with cancer, pancreatic cancer, when she should have been in the bed, when she should have been resting. She was up doing stuff that she was normally doing before she got sick. She was waking up early in the morning, reading the Bible, having devotion, making sure everything was everything around the crib. Still going to feed the homeless, still waking up and saying, hey, we going to go do this. Let's read this. Let's work on this. And I'm saying, like, dang, if I could be half that, I'd be okay. And now we here to the point where it's like my whole world is gone, and I really don't know how to move forward at this point right now, because I'm dealing with it in this moment. And so the next day, shockingly, I asked to go to school. I'm like, Pop, I can't stay at the house. I just don't want to. And they're like, yeah, we'll let him stay home. And I'm like, nah. And I remember my math teacher speaking about some stuff, and then he kind of was like, hey, man, we send our condolences to you. And then he said something. I really don't remember what he said, but I know it kind of touched me. And so I left. I was like, can I go use the restroom? And then I just was crying in the restroom. And then I guess my homeboy, he came in there. I guess my teacher told him to come in there. And he was like, you good, bro? And he brought me out of he's like, man, we got you, bro. And my homeboy Tyree, he came and got me. And he was like, bro, we got you. You know what I'm saying? And it was rough. Because I'm going to school every day, dealing with that. And I remember my teacher, Miss Britton, she was like, how's your mom? I was like, she passed. She just stopped. She was like, that was your rock. I was like, yeah, she was. And so, remembering the conversation that I last had with my mom, that whole senior year, her passing motivated me than ever before, you know what I'm saying? And I went on and graduated high school. I went to Oakwood. And I just remember dealing with all of that stuff. And long story short, I graduated from Oakwood. But those 4 years that I spent there, I just always thought about her. Like, yeah, I'm going to do this for me, but I remember the conversations. Sit at the front of the classroom so you can build a relationship with your teacher. Stay focused. You're not the exception to the rule. And just watching my mom and seeing her deal with that, it taught me a few things. One, don't let your circumstances stop your calling, right? Yeah, you see me weak. You know, I don't have all the hair I used to have. I'm tired, but I'm still gonna get up. I'm still gonna trust God. Even if I'm bleeding, even if I'm sick, even if I need a moment to rest because I can't move like how I used to, I'm still gonna trust God because I know He got the final say. I know on the outward I look weak, but the strength inside of me is gonna carry me until God calls me to rest. Then another thing was, don't give up, right? Until it's your time, stay in there. The road ain't easy. It's not always sunshine and rainbows. And life gonna throw you a lot of jabs, a lot of uppercuts, a lot of curves and a lot of fastballs. But it's in those moments that show you who you really are. And I remember seeing her even weak, even going through all the different things and the emotions, not being able to do for herself no more, and having a business and having to step away from that, and, you know, being at work and being in school and having to step away from that because you got to worry about your health. But I'm still going to have the same type of mentality every day I wake up. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to fight until I can't fight anymore. So seeing her battle every day taught me, don't give up, and realize, like, man, this road that we walk, this race that we are in, it's not easy. But if you just hang on in there and you do your part, no matter if you up, no matter if you down, it's light at the tunnel. And you may not be around to see it, but if you do your part, you can go to sleep knowing that, hey, I fought. I gave it my all. And I'm okay. And I believe when she took her rest, she knew that she did all she could do. And that's all any of us can do at the end of the day. And my mom is my biggest why by far. You know, anytime I'm down and I don't need a lot of motivation, I don't need somebody to wake me up, I don't need somebody to tell me to get on my stuff. I don't need that. But anytime I feel like I'm not doing my best, anytime I feel like I'm not doing what I need to do, I just think about all that she did, all she instilled in me. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to the Let's Talk About It podcast. I see y'all same time, same place.